Hi everybody, welcome. Today we are going to be playing Never Have I Ever. Never have I ever. You let me know if you've never or you ever, and I'll let you know if I've never or if I've evered.
Okay,
Does
I'm
that
gonna
make
drink
sense?
if I've evered, and if I've nevered, then I will
Also drink.
I'll also drink, yes.
Okay. Met up with someone from a dating app.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It was horrendous. You like abused me for 2
What?
years.
That was the only time?
Yeah, I took him to court the other day.
You took him to court?
Yeah.
As you should. That guy. Stalked an ex's partner on social media. Obviously, you haven't.
No, I mean, I've looked at I haven't stalked them. I think because all my exes have been men, I'm not interested.
Right.
Oh, thank God.
I think that
I've been please move on to something else.
stalked
I've
an
warned
ex's-
them. I've been just a heads up.
No, I
He's a
definitely.
rapist.
I feel like. No, I have stalked. No, I have fully stalked. But it wasn't their current partner. It was their ex partner. I feel like that's different.
While you were dating them? Because I feel like sometimes I'll stalk their ex while I'm dating them and then I'll hurt my own feelings and I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
No, I do the opposite. I've done that, but it boosts my ego.
Really?
Yeah.
The first time it's actually upset me was we talked about their ex heaps and I didn't actually look at them and then I was like, let me... And then,
Wait, what does heaps mean? A lot. Heaps.
So I looked at her profile and I was like, fine. It's whatever. And I hurt my own feelings and now I think about it all the time where I'm like, why the f*** did I look at that? I could have just gone my whole life not knowing.
It never does you any good, but also then it
I
does.
I was like, what the f***? Why is she pretty?
It depends. You have to have already seen a picture of them before, and then when you know that it's not that good, it makes you feel better.
Yeah, I think if I went into it knowing that. Maybe.
I knew that this person was not good looking, and then so I looked, but then I was like,
Sometimes I get insulted. I'm like, what is your type?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
am I in that category?
I'm not in that category, queen.
I'm like,
you really struck gold, because I'm embarrassed of your ex.
No, that makes so much sense.
Anyways, every podcast I do, I just sound like a raging narcissist, so that's fun. Never have I ever had an open relationship.
I have.
She has one currently.
One.
Pretended to get a call to leave a date.
No, but I've been on the other end of a call, where someone's called me on a date, and they've been like, hey, I'm oh, you need me to come pick you up? And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah. And my friend was on a date with this guy, and we're at the, what do you guys call pokies here? Slot machines?
Pokies?
Yeah, we call it the pokies, and it's real bogan to
poker.
Yeah, but it's slot machines. It's little machine thingies.
Weren't you telling me that you guys say everything, every
What
word, your heart drops because I'm like, weren't you telling me?
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe. I don't know if I want to relive it.
That you put E's after everything or something?
Yeah.
Like what?
I list everything.
Because now I don't remember.
It's usually an O or an E. Service station is the servo.
Right. Oh, that's what you were saying. The O's.
Yeah, and then sometimes E's
Oh.
Yeah. I can't think of anything off the spot right now. But
would you say Denny's for dinner?
You say Dunny for a toilet.
Okay, but where does that even come from?
I couldn't tell you. We just make it up sometimes, I guess. Dinny. Oh no, we'd say tea. So you have tea for dinner. I don't know why we replaced the two words, but.
Tea, the drink?
Breakfast is brekkie.
Oh, brekkie.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the question?
Pretended to get a call to leave a date.
Oh right. So yeah, my best friend was on a date with this guy, and he was on day 2, he'd been out for 2 days, and then she was like, no, but he's so cute, and I'm like, babe, he's so but alright. And then she went out to lunch with him, and he was so rattled, And then he asked her for like $20 to go on the pokies, which is like slot machines at the bar. Like
because he was on.
I think because he was also just broke. Like,
No.
imagine asking someone for $20 on a first date to go gamble. Like, she called me and was like, you
Are
were
you gonna
fucking
get
bully.
$20?
I was like, they did not ask you for $20. Like, Jesus Christ.
I haven't pretended to get a call, but I've
I wanted to.
pretended to have
Oh,
work at like 4 a.m.
I faked a panic attack once, and it was. I made a
Wait, can you
TikTok
do it
about
right now?
I made a TikTok about it, and it was like
You
the
did?
most mortifying thing. Where I was like, this girl was performing, like doing a drag show, and she came to me afterwards, and then like we were like hitting on each other, whatever. It was fun, and like I thought she was really sweet, but I also was just wanted to go with my friends, and I don't know what's wrong with me and why I couldn't just say that. And like she wasn't being like weird.
So you're like,
Instead, I was like, oh, let me just freak out real quick. She was like, do you want to come back to mine? And she was so sweet about it. She was like, we can just like do our makeup, like nothing weird. And then I was just like, that sounds so fun. And then I just pretended to hyperventilate, and my friends like in the doorway, like they'd already booked the Uber, and I was like wanted to go with them, and I didn't want to like hit on her all night and then just be like deuces, like see ya and leave. So I felt really bad. So I was like, oh, I'll just like fake a panic attack, I guess. And I'm like full on putting on the works. I'm crying. I'm hyperventilating everything. And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, it's a lot. Like, like why have I embarrassed myself that way? And then my friends, like, also, why did my friends allow that? Where did that come from?
what was
I
what?
don't know. I like launched a bit of fluff.
What was a ghost?
But yeah, this lady was like so nice to me. But then my friend's like waiting in the doorway like with the Uber already booked, and I'm like, why did you let me behave that way? Like, you saw me carrying on, you saw me performing like that. Like, why did you not step in and be like, that's enough? Because like I was actually and then you know what's so funny is I was like making a scene, and I was like, no, I've got to go, like I'm so anxious. And she was like, it's fine, like we don't have to do anything, like we can watch a movie. And I was like, no, I've got to leave. And then her friend was like, I know what'll fix this, Alana, come with me. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the worst case scenario. Like I'm trying to leave and I'm getting roped into doing coke now, and I'm like, no. And so I had to escalate the panic attack. It was humiliating. And then I got in the Uber and was like, oh my God, guys, what the fuck? Why did you let me do that?
You gaslight them into being like, why is it your fault that I just did that?
They were
Why
like,
did you make me do that?
I'm like, you guys are so weird for that. That was crazy. She's gonna think I'm so weird now.
No, but sometimes it's easier to just make an elaborate lie than just tell the truth.
It would have been so much easier for me to be like, I'm just leaving with my friends, sorry. But instead I had to like actually perform. I'm like, like just giving absolute.
I literally can't. I feel like to random people, it's so much harder to be honest. Like,
yeah, and I'm not drunk as well, and I'm caught off guard, and she's like, want to come back to mine? I was like, oh, no.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not like a compulsive liar. It's just I don't want to tell you that I'm not into you because then I'll feel so bad and uncomfortable.
And also I felt like, because one of the friends I was living with was a guy, and she was like, oh, I'm like, I think it was my guy friend hit on her, and she was like, oh no, I'm gay. And then I was like, oh my God, me too. And then, but I wasn't out.
So she was like, we have to.
But I also wasn't out as a lesbian yet. Like, I was only like out as bisexual at the time. And so I'd just gone and said I was a lesbian, and I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, I don't know. And then she was like, when I come back to mine, I was living with a guy friend of mine and another girl. And then I didn't want her to think that I was like, yeah, I'm a lesbian. I'm like, just kidding, I'm leaving with a dude. So I had to obviously, the only option was to fake an elaborate panic attack.
That's the only option.
I was like hysterical too, like snotty, crying, everything. Like,
I wish I could cry on command like that.
I can't though. Like, I can't cry on command. Like, I had to like hyperventilate. I had to get in the like I was.
You were method acting. I was thinking of the word. I was like, you were method acting.
I went method. I was like.
No, one time this girl, oh my God, there was this girl that was really annoying. I do think that she follows me on TikTok, so I'm sorry if you see this, but she was actually the worst. She's the worst person I've ever met in my life.
Okay, never mind. Take it back.
Sorry. What happened was like we met. Oh my God, have you ever met someone that just like inserts themselves in your situation that you literally can't get out of it? Like, basically, we met up at Pride in New York. I was living in New York City for a summer. We met up at Pride. That's all it was supposed to be. We were like up all night talking in New York City. She lives in Jersey. Do you know where that is?
Yeah,
like,
I know
okay,
of them.
okay.
I don't know, like,
okay,
what
they're
relation.
like, you could take the train from New Jersey to New York. They're like right next to each other. Right. And basically, like, she came into New York City for Pride, and we're like talking all night. And then like at the end, like I was like, that's all it was, because I was living in a dorm with 2 other people. It was a triple, so it was 3 of us in a room. Literally. And so that was all it was gonna be. So I was like, oh, I'm getting tired, I'm gonna go home. She was like, okay. She was like, oh well, I mean, I don't think the trains run this late. Like,
she's like, I have to be up at this time, so if you could like set an alarm for me.
Yeah, and I was like,
coming over.
Oh, I was like, oh, so like, what's? At first, I was being because I was like, what's your plan?
I thought you were going to say at first I was being nice. You're like, at first awful.
No, I was like, what's your plan? And she was like, oh, I just thought like we would, and I was like, you queen, like this was not like I live in a. So then it's the two of us squishing in my twin bed.
Wait, how did it get to that? If you were like
because I wasn't gonna actually leave her. Like I was trying to be a, but then she had
so
nowhere to go.
She couldn't get the train, right?
Because the trains weren't running that late. But if I knew that was how she was getting back, I wouldn't have I would have been like, go home. Like we didn't have to hang out that bad. Yeah. Anyways, then we're like squishing in my little twin bed. She really annoyed me because she kept doing this thing where like we weren't hooking up, but she would do this thing where I was sleeping and she would just start like
a cat
teasing. No, she would like start like teasing me.
Right.
And I'd wake up and be like, hello.
Like,
and then she'd just stop while I was sleeping.
That's
and I was like,
strange.
Hello? It was weird.
Yeah, don't do that while people are sleeping.
Yeah, it was weird. And so then it was like, but it's funny because in the moment I wasn't like, oh my God, I was just like, girl, you're annoying. You're annoying me. And so then it was like at the time I had an internship at a radio station and I actually would have to be there at 5:45 in the morning. I have to get there that time because it's a radio show. Oh, and so it was 4 and she was sleeping. I put on my alarm to go off in a minute. Like it was a timer.
She's like, I actually said 7.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
I actually requested a room call for 7. So I let the alarm go off and I pretended to wake up and I was like, oh my God, I forgot I fucking work. I'm so pissed. Like, this is gonna suck. And I just start getting ready and I got dressed and everything. I was like, I have to go. I'm so sorry. And then she was like,
I'll be able to get back.
No, she was like, oh man, my phone only has 14%. And I was like, I think they sell chargers in the subway.
You're like, that sucks, man.
And
anyway.
So then I walked this way to one train and she walked this way to the other. And then I walked down the stairs and I waited 2 minutes and I walked right back up and I went right back to sleep.
You didn't have enough work?
No, I made it up.
You made a fake alarm?
Yes, because I wanted her to leave.
Oh my God, I thought your actual alarm went off. That's so
no,
funny.
I set a timer for 60 seconds just so I would wake up to it.
Oh my God, I told you about this the other night, but I think it was loud and you were drunk, but oh my God, there was this chick the other night. I went out to this gig that I got invited to, and you know what? I was gonna be I hope she doesn't see it, but I hope she does because you were weird for that. That was strange.
Weird.
It was so weird. And she was like, I went out in West Hollywood one night and lost my phone. It got stolen. It was a whole thing. But then that's all I remember from the night is crying out the front, hysterical. And this girl, that night that I was out with Jory and I saw you guys. And then I went to a different gig. I was at a different gig and she, my friend who invited me was too drunk and left straight away. So I was just with a bunch of randoms so I didn't know. And she was like, do you remember coming up to me in West Hollywood? And I was like, no. I remember my phone getting stolen.
Oh, it was the one that you thought had the one that you
thought was there?
Yeah.
But wasn't? Yeah.
No, the one that you thought had taken your phone.
No, not her.
Oh.
No. There was
they're playing charades. Only 2 words.
Cut it out.
I know you're right.
But no, so this girl, she's like, do you remember seeing me in West Hollywood? And I was like, no, babe, sorry, but I don't. And she's like, oh, you looked at me like this, you looked me up and down, checked me out. She's like, do you remember that? And I was like, I remember my phone getting stolen and crying out the front for a solid 2 hours. I'm not really thinking about, and that chick I checked out. It's I clearly was obviously just I'm sure I did, but I don't remember it. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, you fully checked me out, looked me up and down. I was like, okay, well, hi, nice to meet you. And then I'm watching the gig and then she taps me on the shoulder and she's like, I don't know who the fuck you are, but I'm like, okay, I'm listening, I'm like, yeah. She's like, I don't know who the fuck you are, but my friend said you're Australian royalty or whatever. And I was like, that's sweet of them, but yeah. Also very strange of you. But I was like, oh, that's nice. And then she was like, yeah, so when you came out to me and you checked me out at in West Hollywood, I was like, what the fuck, I didn't know who you were. And I was like, okay, nice to meet you, I guess. And then she was look down at and I'm wearing hold on. These are the Crocs I'm wearing.
She's wearing wedge Crocs.
They're platform Crocs.
Oh,
thank you very much. And
platform Crocs. They're literal wedges.
Honestly, if they had wedge Crocs, I'd be wearing them. They're stiletto Crocs. But anyway, I was wearing platform Crocs and this girl looks down at me and she's like, are you wearing Crocs? And I was like, yes. And then she was like, no, sweetie, like, we don't do that in LA.
What? She said that?
She was like, oh, no. And I was like, okay, well, like, I'm not from here, so, like, I do. And then she was like, no, I'm going to send you a list of brands. Like, I'm going to send you a list of brands. What we wear.
Ew.
And I was like, I'm, like, so fine. Like,
yeah.
I'm so good. Like, I wear a very specific, like, theme, so I'm good. And then she was like, no, like, I have to send you, a list of things that what you need to wear here. And I was like, you're so weird for that. And she's like, sorry, like, I work in PR, so, like, there's a PR in me. And I was like, okay, well, like, I have a PR team, so, like, I'm good. Like,
yeah.
And then, like, every single person that came up to me that night, she was, like, standing there and, like, was making it weird. And then I was, like, exchanging Instagrams with people that came and said hello. I was like, oh, my God, hi, I'll give you my Instagram. And then she was like, are you giving out your Instagram to people? And I was like, yes. It's like, I don't know you. Like, go away. And I was like, yes. And then she was like, you don't do that here. And I was like,
what?
Like, I'm so over this. Like, leave me the alone. Like, it's so annoying.
Everywhere you go for the for the rest of the night, she's like, we don't do that.
It literally was. And then somebody came up to me who I actually thought was, like, cute. And then they were like, oh, like, I'll get your Instagram. I'd love to, like, take you out. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And she's, like, lurking
she's
in
like,
the background. And she... Apparently, this person came up to me afterwards. And was like, yeah, she came up to me and told me she works PR for you. I'm like, she doesn't. I don't know this girl. Like, she won't leave me alone. And then I read it and I said to her, I'm like, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I'm like trying to get away from her. And she's like, no, the lesbian in me has to, like, go with you. She's like, not saying you're a lesbian, but, like, if you are. And I was like, I am. Like, it was obviously her, like, asking in a weird way. I was like, I am, but, like, I need
you
to.
with the pride.
I'm like, I'm actually very straight. This is weird.
You have pride glitter eyeshadow. I'm
like,
actually not gay.
I'm actually strictly this is weird. But I was like, no, I was like, I am, but, like, you know, I appreciate that, but I'm actually fine. And she's like, no, like, I have to go with you. And I was like, fucking hell, dude. And I'm, like, in the cubicle hoping if I just sit in there long enough, she'll leave. And she just didn't. Like, we were just in the doorway.
She knew exactly who you were. 100%. She knew the whole. She follows you on all your accounts. It would have been
fine if she wasn't just, like, negging me the whole time. I was like, I get maybe she was trying to banter, but it just came off as so rude. And I was like, you're actually just annoying me now. Like, you're just being nasty and it's pissing me off.
No, I actually was just talking about because, like, people recognizing you in public, like us in public, but, like, on our individually, because, like, I feel like sometimes people are. I think it's insane that people recognize me because I'm like, I don't feel like people actually watch me on the internet. So, like, when they say,
doesn't feel real.
Doesn't feel real.
Some person's like, I was the one looking at that. And you're like,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
And it's really cool and, like, validating and, like, cool to see, like, real people. But then sometimes people just be saying shit that I'm like, hello, like, hi, like.
Really, people are full on. Like, I've had, like, it's only happened maybe, like, 2 or 3 times or someone I think where, like, some people feel like, because in Australia especially, like, not so much over here, but I think in Australia a lot more people know me, so and it's a lot smaller, so it's like when I go out, it's a bigger, like, crowd of people that will come up and say hey, and it kind of gets a bit, like, all at once. And, like, and I know that, like, and people are so sweet majority of the time. There's been, like, a handful of times where somebody, I guess, has, like, not wanted to seem like a fan and not wanted to seem like, oh my God, hey, and so they've tried to, like, play it cool by being, like, really rude. And I've had someone, like, interrupt me while I'm having dinner and come over and be like, yeah, I don't know who the you are, but, like, I saw everyone getting photos, so I thought I'd come and say hey. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me, like, put my meal down. I'm like, of course. And I'm like,
why are so many people saying, I don't know who the you are, do you?
I feel like, I don't know why. I'm like, you don't have to, but, like, don't tell me. Like,
yeah.
I don't go up to someone and be like, I'm not, like, familiar with, like, your whole thing.
Yeah.
But, like, hi, I guess. Like,
I was out in WeHo and this girl was like, I mean, it was a compliment at first, and then it just slowly got worse because this girl was like, oh my God, like, the camera does not do you justice, girl. Like, you look so much better in person. She's like, you're so good looking. Like, it kept going up and down. And then, like, once she'd be like, you're so good looking, I'd be like, thank you. And then she'd be like, but in person. Because, like, online you do not look like that. Like, I wouldn't have she was like, I wouldn't have thought that I'd be attracted to you, but now that I see you in person, like, I get it. But online, like, she's like, do you just, like, not care when you make videos? And I was like, and she was like, you lost weight. And I was literally like, she just kept trying to guess why I looked better in person.
She's like, you're fat and unattractive online, but in person, oh my God, killing it.
She's like, in person, I would, I mean, online, I would, but in person. And I was like, Queen, what?
That's so fun.
Or like, I've like been walking the street and people have been like, Bubba's! Like, screaming. I'm like, that's gonna haunt me in my f***ing sleep. Like, please. Oh my
deep,
god.
like guttural, like Bubba's.
Bubba's.
It's like a grown man.
Also, I was talking today, literally, about how I went to the passport agency today and I was walking in my car and I was getting in my car and the car right next to me like rolls down the window and the guy's like, "Are you famous on TikTok?" And I was like, he's like, "Is your name Jordan?" And I was like, "No, my name's Emily."
I guess I am famous. Is that you, Jordan? No.
I was like, "My name's Emily," and then he's like, "Well, she watches your TikToks," and then this girl was like,
"Oh my god, it's always the boyfriends as well, being like, she watches your TikToks."
Well, it could have been her dad, I'm not sure. I'm actually not
Dude,
sure.
I've had a few dads approach me and be like, "Oh my god, my daughter's not going to believe that I met you," and I'm like, "How do you know who I am? Like, are you also watching my TikToks?"
Oh, that's kind of cute that they know
I think
what their
maybe that's more the
daughters
music
watch.
side of things. Like, I think maybe when it's like when the dads know me, it's probably from the music.
My dad, when I was little, couldn't tell you how old I was.
Oh
Like,
yeah, my dad
was gonna know I was
this is a single
watching.
friend of mine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, we grew up together. Like,
My dad always constantly refers to this one girl. Shout out Tanisha if you see this. This girl that I was literally friends with in 2nd grade. And I'd be like, "How's Tanisha?" Like to this day, like I'm not her
I
friend.
couldn't tell you.
I have no idea what this girl's up to.
What's that, Tanisha? Tanisha, what are you up to?
Like haven't talked to her since we were
Tanisha.
okay, probably
Are you
middle
okay?
school. But like we have not been friends since like 2nd grade. And he's like, "How's Tanisha?" Anyways, but I was saying how sometimes when people say hi, I get that they don't know what to say, but I also don't know what to say.
I'm
so,
also nervous. Like,
No, so-
they're like shaking and I'm start shaking. I'm
Right.
Like,
So when he was like, "Oh, she watches your TikToks," I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet. Like, hi, nice to meet you." And they were both like they just didn't say anything. So I was saying today, I was like,
and they expect you to be like really charismatic and funny because you're like that on TikTok. So then when you meet them and they just expect you to lead the conversation, they'll be like, "Oh my god," and then they stand there and you're like, "What are you supposed to be like?" "Yes, it's me. Hello."
that's what I'm saying.
And
I'm
they just
like,
sit there for ages
am I
and you're
supposed to
like, "Okay."
pull out
like-
a little scroll of jokes? Like, all
Sometimes
right.
I do though. Sometimes I have like a set list of like pre like thought
Jokes.
about not jokes but just like conversation enders because I can tell that they don't know what to say and often I don't and I get so awkward that sometimes I'm like I have a few things like in my back pocket where I'm like, "Okay, bye."
Usually I'm just like,
Just because I don't know, like they sometimes are like I've had people that like will get really like excited and overwhelmed and they kind of just will like be like, "Oh my god, like fuck off, like no way," and they won't say anything and I'm not gonna be like, "Yeah, like it's me."
That's
like,
what
I have
I'm
to just awkwardly
saying.
be like, "Can you just at least say my name or something so I can be like, oh my god, so nice to meet you."
Right.
I don't like standing there being like, "Yeah, well," and they're like, "Oh my god," and they haven't said anything besides like, "Oh my god."
that happens to me where people will be like, "You're," and I'm like, and they're like, and I'm like, and it's because I'm not gonna be, like.
It just feels so uncomfortable to be like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah, because one time my friend was like, "Emily, you knew what she meant. Like, why don't you just?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
just
not gonna
like,
be like,
it's
"It's me, M. Greystock."
Yeah.
Like, you guessed it.
It feels so douchey.
Yeah, it feels. But like, also, I can see why me like being like, "I'm not gonna tell you till you guess it," is kind of also.
I've never thought about that. I guess I kind of just I'm like
Yeah.
hi, and then they wait till they say something, and then like, because I don't know. There really is no correct way. And like my
That's what
biggest
I'm
fear is
saying.
somebody meeting me and walking away from that, or like making a TikTok being like she's. And I'm like,
Right.
and I really do care about people that are excited to meet me. But like,
I'm always really nice. I just feel
Yeah.
like sometimes I get. The only
so
time I haven't
awkward.
been nice is it's only been a couple times when people have been like overtly like, "Bubba's like trying to like annoy me. Like I feel like they're
Right.
bullying me. Like they're like, "Bubba's
They can
and I'm
bully-
like,
they bully me, and I'm still like, "Oh my god, it's so amazing, cute, nice to meet you." I'll take a photo. Like they're so bullying me. I'm like in the middle of dinner, and I'm like, "That's so fine. I'll pause my dinner to get bullied. Like, what's your name?"
like Peach, you dumb."
I'm like, "Can you get a photo?" Like, literally.
Are you crying on the edge of WeHo?
Oh my
Maybe,
god!
"Can I get
And
a
I'm like,
picture?"
"Yeah, what, dude?" There was like a few people where I was like, literally sobbing, and I was like, "Okay, 1 second."
Peach got her phone stolen in West Hollywood, which if you're from LA, you know that that's a thing. Everyone gets their phone stolen there.
Thing. And I got pickpocketed.
She got pickpocketed. It was literally hysterical on the side of the road, and she was like, and people were like, "Peach, can I get a picture?"
Like just not even like acknowledging for a second that I was crying. They weren't like, "Oh, like is it okay?" They were just like, "Peach," and I'm like, "Yeah, once again." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, but a few people did DM me and they were like, "I saw you and I didn't approach you because you were crying and I didn't want to like." I'm
That's
like,
really
Yeah, I was
nice.
like, "Thank you."
It's almost like you are a human.
I'm like, that's really nice of you.
Sweet. Okay, wait. Let's get another question.
Question.
I don't like these ones. Never have I ever ghosted someone.
I'm notorious for doing that.
I stay ghosting people.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anyone I've not ghosted.
I've definitely said this in another podcast, but sometimes it's just necessary. Like, when am I going to be like, hi, just want to let you know that I'm uninterested in you.
Yeah. Like,
that's like worse, I think.
I have done that. I have been like, because I can tell that they're not going to be the person to be receptive to being ghosted. So sometimes I'll be like, I feel like you're going to get crazy if I don't acknowledge this. I'll be like, hey, listen, love this so much, but I'm just thinking for me personally, we don't. And like, most times I've been okay with it, but
right.
It was one time where it ruined my life. And
the ghosting?
Yeah.
Oh.
But
I feel like ghosting is mean if you've been dating for a while. Like you've been going on dates, that's one thing. But if you have like a one night stand,
I'm so forward that if I'm like on a couple of dates with somebody, I'm straight away like, I'm hitting them with the what are we? I'm like, are we moving in? What's going on? Like, I'm very like forward.
It's very lesbian of you.
Yeah, I'm just very forward. I'm like, I don't. And if they're like no, I'm like, okay, easy. I'll do something else then.
Okay, never have I ever fallen down in public.
I did that literally a few days ago. I've got a bruise on my knee right now.
She has a bruise on her knee.
So I left the straps on my shoes here, and I was wearing shoes that were meant to have straps on them, but I forgot them.
To be fair, I asked you, do you want this?
And I was like, you keep it. And you hung it up, and now it's not there, I see.
So it's over there. I literally have it.
Well, hang it up. What are you doing? That's crazy.
Should I get it?
I'm actually really offended. I left it here, and then I went out with this one shoe that didn't have a strap on it, so I fell over.
What kind of flex was that for you to be like, keep it?
It was. Why? I just didn't want to tuck it into my shoe. I was already out the door.
You were like, keep it. Like, you know, like when you give like cash and there's like 40 cents and you're like, keep
these troubles. That was not what I was doing. I just didn't want to stuck it. I didn't want to like thread it through my shoe as I'm walking out the door. So I was like, you just keep it.
Keep it.
Oh, that's not what
you're
I was
like,
doing.
wait, you spray your perfume on it.
No, I give it a little kiss.
Anyways, never have I ever, these are so stupid, cried for no reason.
Never, not me. I actually have never actually cried. Never. If you have, you're a pussy week. Kind of flex, fuck you.
Okay, sewing edition. What? Have I ever?
Sewing edition. Okay, yeah. There's two seamstresses.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be a never for all of them. Never have I like old. I'm gonna say no.
Or two old seamstresses are like in the back of a sewing factory. Like, never have I ever sewing edition. Like,
and it's like having in a cross stitch. Stop, you dirty dog.
Never have I ever sewn a patch that
never
was.
Have I ever sewn full stop. Like, it's gonna be never for all of them.
Okay.
Oh. I wonder all the questions.
Okay. Never have I ever listened to Hamilton.
That's in the sewing one?
Oh, you want to do it?
Yeah, I want to know what questions I've got.
Ripped out the same seam, period, twice.
Stop, twice? That's crazy. Who does that?
Sewed something as a gift.
Raunchy. Scandalous.
Sewn a sleeve inside out.
Have you ever sewn a sleeve inside out?
Okay.
Alright, go back to the Hamilton.
Have I ever used the bathroom in complete darkness?
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing. Why are these so fucking stupid? Oh my god, these are so dumb. Oh, I was like, why are these all about being drunk?
It's
okay.
a drinking game, and I'm guessing you've never pissed in the dark because...
No, I have.
Yeah. Were you just strictly with the lights on?
I only drink, I only pee when it's pitch black.
I
only drink cans. What?
Only in the dark.
Please, what? I love what?
Pass it on. Emily loves.
These are okay. Ready?
I'm like actually crying. That's so funny. The song won't set me over the edge.
Never have I. No.
Stop edging it. I want to know what the.
Never have I ever.
Please.
Taken a bath with my sibling when I was younger.
Yeah.
It was like.
I've done more than that.
Never have I ever.
I got some trauma.
Period. Never have I ever sung along to the theme song from Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol? I've never watched that. What am I, a mum?
Never have I ever questioned Juicy. Okay. Juicy.
Never have I questioned, like, Juicy, like the brand.
Never have I ever made a TikTok.
Where the f*** are these TikToks?
I would never. You'd never catch me
If
dead.
somebody makes TikToks.
If someone's on TikTok, that's my ick.
I remember once I made a TikTok, I can't remember what it was, and someone commented new ick unlocked. And that just humbled me so hard.
Wait, okay.
I can't remember what the TikTok was, but someone commented new ick unlocked. I was like, let me look.
And you were just living.
I don't remember what
You were just talking.
I probably
New ick
was, to be
unlocked.
honest. I was like, hello? That actually sent me into a spiral. I was like, what?
People have commented a couple times that I look like a Teletubby, and I, like, literally wake up at night being like, did you watch Teletubbies?
Yeah, I loved the Teletubbies.
I wake up at night, like, eyes open, like, just
Thinking
looking
about
at
it.
telly.
Every time I get tagged in a
Teletubbies.
video of like someone's like, oh my god, you look like Peach PRC, it's like the worst.
It's the ugliest. All my mentions are, oh my god, I thought this was M. Gray stuff.
All the
It's
time,
some nasty
and it'd be someone with
man.
like a massive nose and is like just got bleached eyebrows.
Yeah, people have just tagged me in like really ugly, nasty men. They're like, oh my god, I thought this was M. Gray stuff. He's literally your twin. And I'm like, that's the ugliest
swear,
man I've
it's
ever
like-
seen in my life. These are
Should I
like,
pick one?
yeah, it's like never have I ever gone hunting. Like, have either of us do we look like we've gone hunting?
held a-
Same.
Never have I ever accidentally said I love you to someone.
Never, but someone has to me.
Yeah, same. I've never accidentally said it myself, but people have accidentally said it to me.
Someone has been like,
I've had multiple people accidentally do that to me.
yeah, and then they're like, no, I mean, and I'm like,
Yeah, and I'm
ah.
I always feel like this. My ex, he was like, it was gross. We're like, it was like day one of us hanging out, and we're like, hadn't seen each other in like 8 years or something. And now I've said that, people are gonna work out who it is, but it doesn't matter. We're in a hotel room and we're drinking, and like we hadn't even kissed or anything. It'd been like 8 years since we've seen each other, and we're just hanging out. And then he's like, he's just drinking, we're just chatting, and he's just like, and I'm in love with you. And he's like, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. And I was like, all right, well, I'll pretend you didn't then. Anyway, moving on.
Sorry,
and I just
did
like,
I say that out loud?
but then so he literally was like, sorry, I didn't mean to say that, like all dramatic. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we'll pretend you didn't. Anyway, moving on. And I was like, that was weird. And I just kept talking. And then like an hour later, he said it again, and I was like, sorry. And I was like,
Sorry, I just keep
Like-
thinking that I'm thinking it, and then my mouth starts
And then
saying,
he said it out loud, and I was like, sickening.
hate,
You're getting blocked, and I'm never coming back.
hate it.
Never have I ever cried in public because of a song. Oh, that's like an almost daily thing for me.
Oh my god, one time
I cried in a restaurant, they were playing Hallelujah, and I was like, someone's like busking, and out the front, I was like,
one time, did you ever watch Crazy Rich Asians, the movie?
no. I heard
There's
about
this scene, and where they were getting married, and it was like, is it, what, wait, actually, what's the song? I don't know if it's I'll Always Love You, but, no, there's no way it was that.
Okay,
There's-
you hit that note then, though.
For real?
The way we just came in on the same note, that was impressive.
Thank you. Should I be a
Watch me listen
singer?
to it back and be like,
And it's really bad.
I'll sample it.
I don't remember what song it was, but it was something about love, and I was like, that song reminded me of my first ex, but I was sitting with my second ex, and I started crying about it, and then she knew,
That's the worst.
and then she was like, you're crying because of so-and-so, and I was like, no, and I lied, and still to this day I lied, and now she's
you
gonna
have
know.
to. You gotta bury yourself with that. Oh, now she knows.
Well,
Never
now she
mind.
knows. Honestly, whatever.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It's a good song, I'm assuming. But
I'm assuming. You don't know the song. It's a great song.
I'm just sticking up for you anyway. I'm like, no, trust me, it's a very sad song. I've heard it. But no, I've done that so many times where I've like cried about an ex in front of like a current partner. I'm like,
it's so bad, and that's why I refuse to rebound.
Could you just cry about the last one?
Because I'm like, no. But I've never... It was weird, though, because I didn't... I've never actually fully rebounded. I just, like, be holding on to people for a minute.
Right.
Like, because I hadn't been with that person I was crying about for, like, a minute. But that song was just emotional. But then sometimes,
it's like years, and then something comes up, and you're like, why am I literally bawling about this?
That's what I'm saying. And sometimes it's not even about the person. It's, like, about,
it's about that time of your life. It's, like, nostalgic almost. It's
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
I was really happy during that time, not because of you, but because, like, I was doing happy things.
Right.
And now I'm not happy, and I'm hearing the song again. I'm like, oh.
That's what I'm saying.
You just happened to be there. You were just a sidekick.
Period. Never have ever hooked up in a club.
Oh, Americans have a different meaning for hookup for me, when I say hook up, I mean like made out. But you guys
mean made out too.
Right. Because every time over here when I tell someone like, oh, I hooked up with this person, like meaning I kissed them, they're like...
It just depends.
And like when I was traveling Europe, I was like, there was people from America that were staying in my hostel, and I kissed like 3 different girls in one night, and I was like, that were staying in my hostel. Because I was just like, I don't know, I was traveling. Mm-hmm. And then we went back to the hostel, and we're all like the same age, and we're all like in the same group, and they were American, and I was like, they're like, oh, did you get with her? And I'm like, yeah, I hooked up with her, and they're like, nice. I'm like, yeah, and I hooked up with her as well, and they were like, what? And I was like, oh, and her as well, and they were like, you hooked up with 3 people last night? And I'm like, is that crazy? And they were like, you're in a bunk bed, like, like how did I'm like,
you're like next,
and I was like, no, it was just on the dance floor, and they were like, and I think I'm just on the dance floor.
I think it depends who you're talking to. It's maybe
we say like rooted if you rooted.
Rooted?
Yeah.
That makes sense, like
you root, yeah. So gross though, I hate that term. So bogan.
Rooted. What?
We have so many
saying all these words.
We have like ugly slang for sex things, like blowjob is like a god.
Like Dobby from Harry Potter.
No, it's Dobby.
Free Dobby.
And is a wrist.
Y'all are like, how can we make this sound as gross and unsettling as possible? Wait, I hate
I hate you too.
How do you take anyone seriously? Can I get
yeah, give me a sweetheart. It's like gross.
Ew, that's disgusting.
Boys said that to me in high school. They say I have
I just keep thinking free Dobby.
Yeah, I guess. I was thinking like gob, like mouth, but Dobby too.
Hate.
Yeah, it's rancid. Have you ever given a question 1? Wait, I'll do an Australian never have I ever. I'm sure they'd be
okay, period.
Like never have you fought a kangaroo. I actually have been staunched by a kangaroo twice.
Really?
Twice I have been like squared up.
Are they nice?
No, they will disembowel you.
What does that mean?
Like rip your organs out, like with their talons, and then they pull your organs out. They're vicious. Nothing in Australia is nice.
Wait, that's so scary.
They're terrifying. Well, one time I was like underage and drinking in a field, and like the cops came because we were like playing music out of somebody's car, and we were all underage drinking, and I had a goon bag, and which is, I don't know what you call, like a wine bag in America, like one of those silver like wine. We call them a goon bag, and it's just like what like poor people drink, which I drank for years. And I was like underage, and I had it in a bush, and the cop came, and I was like hiding under my shirt, and I'm sitting there, and then I hear something like rustling next to me. I'm like, what the f-? And I see them like coming with their torch, and I look up, and there's a whole kangaroo just like staunching me, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I'm either gonna get like booted by this kangaroo, or I'm gonna get busted by the cops. So I just like hide there and just hope for the best. And it was staunching me the whole time, and then the cops left, and I started running, and it just bounced off in the other direction. It's very scary.
So it was fine?
It was fine, but like it could have killed me.
Wait, that's so fucking scary.
They're terrifying. They're so angry.
And they kill people all the time?
I don't know all the time, but they could if they wanted to. They mostly just get hit by cars, but they bounce off, and they absolutely total your car, but they'll just bounce away like fine. They're like pure muscle. They're like, have you seen them? They're like aliens. They're
no, I'm literally looking one up right now.
Look up grey kangaroo.
Grey?
Yeah, because they're the ones that are ripped.
Oh my god.
These got the big red ones. Big red kangaroo. These ones that have like the crazy, like they look like a condom full of walnuts. They're absolutely, yeah, look at that shit.
Did you say that's real?
Yeah, that's a real one. They look like that.
Why do they look like they go to the gym every day?
They're shredding. They're on creatine. I don't know.
That is on steroids. That's a man. That's a full
That's a
man.
whole person, and they that's what I mean. They staunch you like this, like they'll stand there and just like arc up at you like that.
So you were looking at that?
And I'm like squatting down here, and this is like over like this, and I'm sitting there being like, oh my god. And if it gets up on its tail and decides to disembowel me, like I'm done. They're vicious.
This is the scariest thing I've ever seen
They're
in my
literally
entire life.
Aliens. The big red's one that I'm thinking of. The grey ones are the cute ones. He's literally flexing. He's doing like
He's literally at the gym.
He's literally doing this in bodybuilding comps. So they like.
He's like, yo.
Yeah, they sit like that all the time. They'll lay on the ground and they like rest on their elbows.
They're people.
They literally are. They're aliens. They're freaky.
I hate them. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're really scary. They always sit like that, like they're leaning on their little elbows.
I hate it. Okay. Anyway, I feel like we've talked a lot.
Yeah, we can.
We said enough, right?
That's enough.
That's enough. I've had enough. Oh, the camera's gonna die.
Okay.
Thank you guys for watching.
Bye.
Thank you,
for having
Peach.
me on your podcast.
Of course. Thanks for coming.
It's so fun.
If you guys want to follow Peach, where can people find you? Not that they wouldn't already know, but
It's Peach PRC on everything.
period.
On all my socials.
Period.
Yeah.
We hope everyone has a very lovely and mentally ill day.
And a very gay Pride Month.
Period. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Bye, everyone. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.